For those of you who haven't had kids yet, there are no rules to raising kids. And for the kids, they know there are no rules in raising parents. But there's something about little kids and toddlers that make us fall in love with them so that when they reach teenage life, we let them live. So I want to share a couple of stories with you. My son was in love with He-Man's sister, She-Ra. Do you guys remember? Yeah, he's on a Geico commercial right now. And my girlfriend's daughter's name is Shira. So my son, 4 years old, is waiting all day for Shira to show up at the door. And when I open the door, and a 12-year-old is standing there without her cuffs, without her sword, he went ballistic. Now, those things are really endearing as a parent. It was really cute. When he needed the toilet flush because he thought monsters were coming out of the toilet, I thought that was endearing. He would run down the hall, I would flush, and he let me feel like a hero. We had a hamster in the house, and when my daughter went to camp, he said, "Can he have the hamster in his room?" So I said, "Sure." So we put the hamster in his room, and I wake him up the next morning. I have to go to work. The hamster is not in the cage. So we had a very short discussion about telling the truth. Now, the problem was I have a very large Airedale, and I couldn't let that hamster run free because I didn't know what my dog would do. So we found the hamster hiding in a shoe, and I got to work on time. The next morning, I walk in, and the hamster's out of the cage. And this time, I'm not a corporal punisher, but this time he got a spanking. And he is telling me the whole time, "I didn't do it, I didn't do it, I didn't do it." So I found the hamster and went to work. That night, I'm in his bed, reading him a story, and the two of us watched that hamster open its own cage. My son is 30. This happened when he was 7, and I am still hearing about this shit today. Now, either we think that we're higher on the food chain, but hamsters just passed us by. The things that we do for our kids. I was the first female baseball coach in the Deerfield Youth Baseball Association. And I did it. I did it to help my son feel like a hero. What I realize now is that I really wanted my son to think that I was a hero. Anyhow, at the end of the last game, another coach and I, we decided to take the kids to the Cubs game. And I have a van, I have 6 boys in the back, and they've totally forgotten that I'm a mother and I'm driving this car. So I hear them talking about health class because they thought that masturbation was really funny. I think some of them were relieved, but some of them were a surprise. And I hear my son say to one of the boys in the back, "You really want my mother, don't you?" So here my son is pimping this 50-year-old mother out to this 12-year-old boy, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm a single mom, and he's trying to help me raise money. We're getting now to the times when we let them live. There was a time when kids were buying cough medicine with DXM because they could get high. And at the time, we didn't realize it, the manufacturers didn't. So I found my son hanging on the Juul because he couldn't walk, he was so high. And instead of getting him to the hospital because the hospital was too far, I called the paramedics to my car. And it took him 12 hours to come down. I mean, things that I would never have expected my son to do. But it was only the beginning. Do you remember when we had an epidemic of kids knocking mailboxes off outside people's homes? Well, my son and 3 of his friends decided to do that. And of course, they took the license plate off the car, and the kids were all arrested. And the only time Orange is the New Black is fun is when it's on TV. My son decided they had to do 100 hours of community service. He decided he was going to fudge the last 13 hours and forge the signature. So he went to jail for 30 days. So there my son is in Orange. And it wasn't so funny. What worried about my son was that his greatest trait is that he gets along with everybody. He loves people. He's got a great personality. I was afraid of the friends he was going to make in jail that I was going to have to see when he got out. Um, oh, that's such a nice sound. Now I have a different kind of a problem because this little boy who made me love him has been diagnosed with diabetes. And he's in a love relationship and he doesn't want to change his lifestyle. So we're not walking away from bar food and craft beer. And he won't even have a conversation with me about it. So I'm having a conversation with you because I get to talk about it. And I don't know how I can take this little boy that I loved and watch him get sick or die and still make it through the day. Peace out.